Before we get going here, though, Tom, Whittingham mentioned something the other day, and I think that he is right. He is lamenting the 50-point game in basketball because, Whitty?
Because every morning you wake up and there's some crazy new box score of something that somebody did, and it sort of diminishes all of it, doesn't it? It would seem to indicate that teams are either bad at defense or they're the collective talents are rising so much that all these guys put together these, like Donovan Mitchell's 71 it was a Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, it was the day after DeMar Hamlin happened, so that probably drowned it out. But Luka's 60, 21 and 10. It was cool, but there was Giannis's 45 whatever and whatever the next day. Like these achievements, it's sort of like when there was a no-hitter every day a couple of years ago, and it sort of diminishes the value of the no-hitter.
He's basically saying so many 50-point games that it doesn't even mean anything anymore. Has it been diluted, Tom?
Yeah, so I hear that a lot, especially, nationally. The conversation goes to the negative is like defenses. They don't play defense anymore. It becomes such a negative tone to these scoring nights that I feel like that is a problem with NBA basketball, is that the national pundits turn it into a negative, that we're seeing just amazing plays by Donovan Mitchell. I mean, that play that he missed a free throw on purpose and then just vanished and then somehow put it back up. It's like an amazing basketball play. But then the conversation was, well, it shouldn't have been allowed because he did a lane violation to get there. So there's a lot of talk about the dilution of the NBA game or the inflation of stats. And I think we should recognize that we are having more 40-point games than ever, more 50-point games than we're used to, accustomed to. But there are legitimate, amazing basketball innovations that are happening that I think we should be talking about more, rather than guys just don't play defense anymore.
And it's not true that they don't play defense. It's just that the offense has gotten that much better. I saw J.J. Redick talking about this the other day, Tom, because if the money's going to be in shooting and the money's going to be in scoring, it stands to reason that everybody's going to get better at the shooting and the scoring. But it's not like the defense is bad. It's just that the offense is that good.
And it's different. It's different. What is happening now in today's NBA, and I don't think people are talking about this enough, is that everybody, the NBA as a whole, is playing 7 seconds or less basketball. The entire NBA is doing this. Mike D'Antoni changed the NBA, changed basketball forever with that Steve Nash team in 2004. And I should say I'm contractually obligated to mention that Amin Elhassan was in that front office there too, in Phoenix. And the idea was Mike D'Antoni pointed to the shot clock and said, I want to get a shot up before that hits 17. And that was revolutionary. The idea to trust your players to get out in up-tempo basketball and get a shot up within 7 seconds. 7 seconds or less basketball is what's happening across the league. In that 2014, that won 62 games, coach of the year from Mike D'Antoni, Steve Nash wins 2 MVPs. They, in those games, got 17 shots within 7 seconds or less. They didn't do it every time down the floor. 17 shots within 7 seconds. This year in the NBA, the average team is getting 17 shots up within 7 seconds. That was the exception in 2004. It is now the rule. So when J.J. Redick is talking about, players are getting better and they're more skilled. Nikola Jokic is a 7-foot center who is almost leading the league in assists, and he's just a virtuoso with the ball. There's this other thing that's happening macro level in the NBA, which is when a turnover happens, or even when a made basket happens, coaches are saying, get out and go score. And that's what's happening, is teams are getting out more possessions, because quicker possessions means more possessions. And you're seeing these scoring totals skyrocket because the entire way the brand of basketball is now D'Antoni ball. It's get out and go.
Is that the real reason we're seeing these huge scoring nights, or do you have any other theories you're throwing out there at the origin story on this?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One is the take foul rule. The NBA instituted a new rule where you can't just grab a player in transition and force them to take the ball out of bounds. Now you get a point or you get a free throw and the ball. So teams are now no longer able to just stop a transition intentionally. And so teams are now taking advantage of that and getting out. But the other thing that's happening is, I don't think I've seen this anywhere, is we're on pace this season to have the most overtime games in NBA history. There have been 90 games that have gone into overtime this season, and that would break the record. They would shatter it. I think there was like 112 last year, and we're already at 90 at the halfway point. And you're telling yourself, like, okay, that's 90 games. There's over 600 games this season. I can't explain everything. But Luka Doncic, when he had 60 points, that was an overtime game. Donovan Mitchell, when he had 71, that was an overtime game. So we're seeing a lot more overtimes. We're seeing the take foul, and we're seeing just teams embrace the idea of, like Mike D'Antoni did with Steve Nash. Get the ball to Steve Nash and let him run the offense. If you watch the Pelicans right now, Dan, if you watch the Pelicans play basketball, maybe not right now because he's hurt, when Zion Williamson gets the loose ball or gets a rebound, they're going. He's the point guard. Nikola Jokic, point guard. Domantas Sabonis, who's leading the league in rebounds, point guard. Everyone is getting the ball and going, and so you're seeing them get more assists, more touches offensively, and that's propelling these scoring totals, which are just, it's insane, as Woody said.